Everybody's finally coming over to my side on the A.J. Brown Philadelphia Eagles story. So I never said he was a bad guy, and I never said he wasn't a great player. He's both. He's a bad fit in Philly. And I said last year, after the Super Bowl, trade him. I said at the trade deadline, trade him. They didn't. And now he's got all the leverage. What are they going to do? Every time you put a mic in front of him, he's speaking out. Here's A.J. Brown's latest diatribe on the Philadelphia Eagles offense.
At what point are we going to pick up our slack as an offense that we're so great, you know? And that's what I'm getting at. It's not about we're not winning or I don't care about winning. All I care about is stat. No, it's been week after week sometimes. We're not contributing. We're not doing our job on offense. So you can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over that and you expect to win late in the year. You think you're going to go to it at the end of the year. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know, and last year, what it was, thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt.
So now, you know, he knows he's got all the leverage. Right before the trade deadline, you don't want to get shipped off to Jacksonville. Or after the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, Eagles have a lot of time in the front office. I better watch out. Now, Philly's trapped. And there's only two things that take a Super Bowl roster out of Super Bowls. Number one, cluster injuries. Your whole offensive line gets hurt like the Chargers, or drama. And this is drama. And the Eagles now are doing the worst thing you can do. They're forcing the ball to him.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to appease him, like that last throw down the field against the Packers. They're now just trying to appease him. That's the worst thing you can do. So the Eagles are averaging 24 points and a measly 300 yards of offense. In the one game A.J. Brown didn't play, they scored 38 points and had 430 yards. So this is not terribly complicated. And over the last 5 games, yesterday J-Mac said, well, who do you throw to? Well, over the last 5 games, the third leading receiver in the NFL is Devontae Smith. I'm not saying Devontae's better than A.J. Brown, but he's a better fit. So they have a number one receiver. They have a great back, a good O-line, a good quarterback, but it's the old, you know, pizza at a Mexican restaurant. I'm not saying the pizza's not great. It's kind of weird that it's on the menu, but you can be a great player, you can be a great guy, and it can just be a weird fit.
I'm going to lose my mind on this one. I'm going to legitimately lose my mind on this one. First off, no one's coming to your side right now about the A.J. Brown situation. Nobody. That's number one. Number two, imagine thinking that Howie Roseman made a mistake right now with A.J. Brown and this Philadelphia Eagles team. Imagine that. I like what this whole thing is. So they forced him the ball against the Green Bay Packers. They targeted him 3 times. What are you talking about right now? Like, what are we saying right now? This is ridiculous. And Colin, throughout this entire season, has said, there's something wrong with the offense. There's something wrong with the offense. There's something wrong with the offense. They can't score. They lead the league in 3 and outs. Been ripping the offense. And now A.J. Brown wasn't there against the Giants, and they're like, look how many points they scored. I mean, look what Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears did against the New York Giants. Does that make them a Super Bowl contender now? Come on. What are we doing here? What are we talking about here? What A.J. Brown is saying right now is saying our offense isn't good enough. We need to be better offensively. That's what he's saying. I mean, think about this. They are 12th in the NFL, 24 points per game with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So apparently 2 number 1 receivers according to Colin. Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Dodson as a wide receiver too. Dallas got they should be top 10 at least. Definitely. And that's at the core of what A.J. Brown is saying. He's saying, bro, we had 3 points at half. We can't have that. We can't have that. And he's frustrated clearly with Kevin Patullo. And I'm going to show you a clip of the rest of the interview of what A.J. Brown is specifically saying. And shout out to Justin Long who gave me the idea to even play the rest of the clip. Appreciate that. Saw it in the comment section. Reddit gonna do it. But before I show you that clip, I just want to talk a little bit more about this, because I want to be clear. I don't think A.J. Brown should be having these conversations with the media. I don't think he should be going on some random dude's video game stream and talk about that type of stuff. Because A.J. is like, I'm just making light of the situation with my friend. Yeah, making light of the situation with your friend on a live stream that potentially millions of people can see. That's different. That's totally different, okay? That's like getting, you know, blacked out, wasted, and just being like, what? I'm having some fun with my friends. No big deal. And it's like, yes, you are having fun with your friends, but you're probably taking it a little bit too far, bud. And so that is the conversation with AJ Brown. He can have all these conversations. He could be passionate. He can push his team to do more. But like you have those conversations with Sirianni. Yeah, those conversations with Kevin Patullo, Jalen, whoever, Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, I don't know who, whatever dynamic you're comfortable navigating there. AJ Brown's been here for a minute now. He's gotten paid. He's got his ring. He's got to have some pull there. I don't agree with going to the media. I don't agree with going on a video game stream and doing that whole thing that I disagree with. That I 1000%, make no mistake about it, disagree with. But Colin keeps trying to push this. I would have traded AJ Brown. I would have done this. When Spags himself said AJ Brown is the most important player on the Philadelphia Eagles team to game plan around that, you have to figure out a way to remove AJ Brown from the game, because that's what makes the offense fully click. And that's not an insult on Jalen. That's not an insult on Saquon. I mean, he said this as Squan was going off and setting the record. And so, yeah, obviously, Spags doesn't have anything against Saquon, and he thinks Jalen's awesome. They have nothing. The Chiefs have nothing but respect, honestly, for the Eagles, except for, maybe Chris Jones, but who cares what he thinks. And so, football is complicated. Football is chess. We use these things way too loosely. We're like, oh, it's a chess match. Oh, it's a, you know what? Let's see what you know. Always 2 steps ahead. This, that. Like when we use those phrases so casually, they lose emphasis. They lose But just think about how complicated football actually can be. And look at all of the things that lead up to them just calling a play, a game plan, the rhythm of a play calling. There's a lot that goes into it. There is a lot that goes into it. And so, even when AJ Brown is not being utilized in terms of like actually getting like targets or actual catches and bottom line yards, he's still so crucial to this offense. I don't care what you do against the New York Giants. Am I losing my mind right now? And it's so perfect because yesterday or 2 days ago, Colin was singing the praises about the Los Angeles Lakers. Follow me for this one. Don't check out about the Los Angeles Lakers and they don't need LeBron. Ruia is playing amazing, and AR is playing amazing, and Luke is playing amazing, and DeAndre Ayton's playing amazing, and they're beating the Hornets. And now they go up against OKC, the actual contender, and get blown out 121-92. Okay, so I don't care what you do against the Giants. I do not care. I've said this so many times. This is one of my most consistent takes that, unless you've really been watching me, random fans get mad at because all the Detroit Lions will beat some bad team or the Eagles will beat some bad team, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really move the needle for me that much. And they'll be like, oh, you're such a hater, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no man, like, this is the way how I view the NFL, and it's the way you should view the NFL. Beating the Giants does. I mean, again, obviously for the Eagles, it's a divisional round, so I mean, it's at a divisional game, so it's a little bit different, and whatnot. But like, I care about what you look like against the Rams. Colin literally went on and on and on after the Eagles beat the Rams and said, that's AJ Brown. AJ Brown is so big and strong that the Rams have no one on defense that can cover AJ Brown. Well, if you remove AJ Brown, does that mean then it's going to be a lot harder to beat the Los Angeles Rams? Or do we want to talk about how many points you scored against the New York Giants? What's more important, beating the Rams, the Seahawks, Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, like teams that are actually good, or the New York Giants? I think the answer is obviously pretty clear. Was AJ Brown important throughout the course of the playoffs? Yes. Was he important in both Super Bowls? Yes. Now he's a bad fit. They rely on AJ Brown in the biggest games. Was AJ Brown utilized against the Minnesota Vikings, Jalen Hurts' best game? Yes. So, it just saying that he's a bad fit makes no sense. Thinking that the Eagles can't navigate this and endure this is insane. You keep forgetting who the Philadelphia Eagles are, and I don't know why because they keep reminding you who they are. Now, this is the clip that AJ Brown specifically says it's not Jalen Hurts. What Jalen's directive is on every play, but there were obvious examples where you were wide open and the wall wasn't coming to you. Is that related to whether you're the first read, or is that he's not throwing the ball at you for some reason? I don't think that's the case at all. I think certain players have different reads, despite what it looks like when somebody take a screenshot. And you can't go off that, but he has certain reads. He has a lot going on in his head that he's trying to process. And then also he has pressure in his face. So Like I said, I don't know. Maybe there's a question for him or KP. So with the last one, so it's a little bit harder to hear. Hopefully you guys can hear it. They pretty much asked him, hey, are you open? And when you are open, like Jalen Hurts isn't getting you the ball. What's going on? Like, is that on? They're trying to stir up Jalen Hurts AJ Brown controversy, and he's pretty much like, no man, it's not on Jalen. Like, despite what you might see on a random screenshot, like that's not how football works. It's not how this works. There's different reads, pressure, etc., you know. And this is more a comment on coaching. This is more on a comment on game plan, play calling, etc. This is not on, oh, Jalen Hurts is just not getting me the ball. I want the ball. And don't tell me that this team is firing at all cylinders offensively when they lead the NFL in 3-and-outs. When we've seen halves where Jalen Hurts has like no passing yards. And the problem is because there's this obsession with trying to bury or downplay or minimize what Jalen Hurts does. They're just like, what happened to Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts. And it's like, what are you talking about? So Jalen Hurts on own for some quarters is awesome, a top quarterback in the NFL. And then other times he just suddenly forgets. He's like, I don't know how to play football. I don't know how to be a quarterback. What do we think is more likely? That there's a problem with play? Calling, game management, game planning. And when I mean game management, I mean from a coaching perspective. Do the players just suddenly don't know how to get open? Do the players just suddenly don't know how to play football? Or is it more likely an issue with coaching? And Eagles don't have a great O-line this year. Can we stop saying that? We want to keep inventing that. That's not true. Just like how they tried to invent last year that O-line was like the great. And Colin said something like, this was the greatest O-line in the last like 20 years, 25 years. And it's like, that's what Patrick Mahomes had. A better O-line in 22 with a better pass block win rate than the Philadelphia Eagles had in 24. Like, why? Why do we just say things just for the sake of saying things? Doesn't make any sense. The Denver Broncos had a better O-line last year than the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles had like the tallest O-line. Like, okay, sure. Doesn't automatically mean it's the best. They had a great O-line, not downplaying their own line. Imaeda, Becton, Lane Johnson. Yeah, like Cam Jurgens. Absolutely. But like it's all in service to downplay the other aspects of this team. And yet no one can ever decide who they want to give that credit to. Whether it's the O-line, whether it's Saquon, whether it's Devontae, AJ, the defense. It's pretty much everyone except Jalen. And that's why you're always viewing it through this weird narrow lens. Because they're like, well, this guy isn't a good quarterback, so it's got to be the O-line. It's got to be Saquon. It's got to be AJ. It's got to be Devontae. And then like, when other things come about throughout the course of a season that don't fit that view, they're like, well, and then you get the takes of saying, well, it's a great O-line, and a great O-line. Then why can't Saquon Barkley? Why can't Saquon Barkley rush? Well, because he rushed a lot last year. Oh, that's why he's being met in the backfield. That's why he's getting like no yard. He's getting like no yards before contact. Like that's why there's no holes. Like it's just because he ran a lot last year. Like, huh? What about the games that he is able to play great then? Is he just more motivated? Remember when First Things First said like, I think he might not have that same motivation, right? Because Saquon Barkley is essentially not motivated enough, because he was in some commercials. These things just get so distorted, man. They get so distorted. Now we're saying he's a bad fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. They tried to force him the ball. Unbelievable. Now Jalen Hurts, who's been an elite game manager, saying it as a positive, is now trying to force the ball to AJ Brown in 4th and 6 in a got-to-have it moment. That's when Jalen Hurts is going to be like, I got to get the ball to AJ. Got to get the ball to AJ. That's when Nick Sirianni and Kevin are like, we got to get the ball to AJ. Really? That's what we're going with now? Okay, I can't wait to have this conversation all over again for First Things First. That's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a rough one. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles' AJ Brown? Is it clear he's a bad fit for this team? Is it clear that Howie Roseman should have traded him? It's all Howie Roseman's fault. I'm telling you guys, he's not a good GM. He just got lucky all those years. He's not a good GM. The Eagles have a terrible culture. That's why when players get there, they love it and feel at home. And when players have to leave, they're so furious and heartbroken. Literally. But it's because they have a bad culture and a bad team. Just a bunch of guys that have a bad fit. But they were just lucky. They were lucky to blow out the Commanders. They were lucky to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the greatest team in the history of the universe against the greatest quarterback in the history of the universe against the greatest coach in the history of the universe, and the greatest defensive mind in the history of the universe, and the greatest GM in the history of the universe. And they were lucky to beat the Los Angeles Rams, who weirdly enough also has the greatest coach in the history of the universe and the greatest quarterback in the history of the universe, and the greatest GM in the history of the universe. Oh, and they also did it against the Packers too, who weirdly enough also have the greatest coach in the history of the universe, the greatest quarterback in the history of the universe, the greatest run team in the history of the universe. That's weird. And they did it against the Washington Commanders, weirdly enough too, who overnight became the greatest team in the history of the universe, with the greatest quarterback in the history of the universe, greatest coaching staff in the history of the universe, greatest owner in the history of the universe. Look how fast he's turning those teams around. It's crazy. What does that make the Eagles then? Just really lucky. I wish I was that lucky. I really do, man. I really do. I'd be on top of the world. I'd be making these videos from like Paris and Jamaica and Bermuda. I don't even know where else, man. Nova Scotia. Let's just go all around the world. Tokyo. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.